Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is FPL Roxas. Today, I'll be sharing my Game30 team selection. After a long time of thinking over the international break, I've decided to activate my wildcard for Game30. So in this video, I'll be showing you guys how the team looks like after the wildcard, and I will provide my reasoning as to why I've picked each player. As usual, feel free to like and subscribe if you found the video enjoyable. Alright, let's start the team selection video. Now I'll quickly summarize how I've done for Game 29. I made 2 transfers, removing Foden and Solanke for Son and Tony, making use of an extra transfer which has cost me a -4. It was one of the lowest scoring weeks I've ever experienced in FPL, and I don't think anyone expected it to go that badly. I only had one return, coming from Leno through his clean sheet and save points. I ended the game week with 22 points, and with the -4, that's a total of 18 points, which gave me a minuscule green arrow to around 1.2 million, which I'm completely okay with. I got to save my free hit, and I escaped the game week without a red arrow. So I'll take that as a win. Again, I still have quite a low rank compared to my previous season, but it should go uphill now that I'll start to use my chips. Before we get into my wildcard team selection, I'd like to discuss my chip strategy for the remainder of the season. I have attached a diagram created by Twitter user FPL_placement to show you guys all the teams that will be doubling in the future. So my chip strategy will involve using my wildcard in Game 30, free hit in Game 34, and bench boost in Game 37. I decided to use this chip strategy as it made the most sense when it came to my team. A few game weeks back, I felt that it would be better to just dead end my team into blank Game 29, as it only had just 4 games playing in that particular week. I didn't think that using my free hit would provide as much of a return compared to if I used the chip in a double game week with a bigger amount of games, with multiple teams having 2 fixtures. That being said, it made the most sense to fix my team as quickly as possible for Game 30 onwards, so I've decided to use a wildcard to rebuild the team. It allows me to bring in all the expensive players that I want, which would have been difficult to achieve with free transfers alone. That is, like Salah and Haaland, specifically. Another reason why I use my wildcard this week instead of in 31 is because I fear that the players that I'm planning to get will be experiencing a price rise, which will affect my transfer budget. Some of the players in my team are also expected to get a price drop, and my team value is already pretty low, so holding my wildcard would have possibly priced me out of a few players. Free hitting in Game 34 will get me the best players in that week without the need to plan out my transfers beforehand. The gap between Game 30 and 37 is quite long, so that will provide enough time for me to make transfers that will optimize my team for Game 37, where I'll be using my bench boost. My wildcard is now activated, and this is how I project my team to look like after making all the transfers. That would leave me with 1.3 million in the bank, which I will need for a move that I'll discuss later on. So for my goalkeepers, I've chosen Petrovic and Areola. Chelsea will be doubling twice in Game 35 or 36 and then in 37. So having a Chelsea player is compulsory, in my opinion. Petrovic has Burnley at home this week, a good fixture against a weak opponent, so I think he's going to be a good pick. Of course, there's a chance that Rob Sanchez could replace him again at some point, but I'm willing to take that risk. Areola I have chosen simply because of my previous team value being low, that led to my transfer funds getting affected as well, so I can't really afford the more expensive goalkeepers. I contemplated over him and Verbruggen for the second goalkeeper spot. Areola has Luton at home in Game 37, that's a good defensive fixture that I'll need for my bench boost. Verbruggen doubles in 37, but De Zerbi does like to rotate between him and Jason Steele, so he wouldn't be a good pick unless I know that he'll start most games, especially both the games in 37. For my defenders, I've chosen Udogi, Gusto, Bradley, Lascelles, and Gabriel. Since Spurs will be doubling twice in between Game 35 and 37, I know that I'm going to need at least 2 players from Spurs. A wingback like Udogi is what I need. I do believe that Porro is a better option, but he's way more expensive than Udogi, who's currently priced at just 5 million compared to Porro, who is at 5.7 million, if I'm not wrong. If I had a bigger transfer budget, I probably would have had Porro instead. He has Luton at home for this week as well, so a clean sheet should be possible, and maybe an attacking return as well. Same goes with Gusto, doubles twice, a good fixture in Burnley at home this week, and very cheap at 4.2 million. And Bradley, I have picked because he was cheap, and he has been starting most of the games when Trent was out. Trent is probably going to be back quite soon, which will again create a competition in the right back position. But I do think that Bradley is good enough to start over him over the next few games. I hope that I'm right on that, but if he does not start anymore or is not getting as many minutes, I'm fine with replacing him later on in the future. Lascelles is a cheap enabler in the team that is likely to start games again now that we have information regarding Botman's ACL injury. It's possible that he's the one who replaces Botman in the starting lineup for the rest of the season, or it could be Livermore or Lewis Hall getting minutes. We don't know yet, but I'm hoping that Lascelles gets to be a starter again. If he doesn't, then of course I'll have to replace him later on. Gabriel, I have brought in for his Luton fixture in Game 31. The rest of the games after that aren't that good to get clean sheets from, as they have to face Brighton, Villa, and so on. I could replace him with another defender, but I currently have in my team. I haven't confirmed that position, so we'll see. For my midfield, I've chosen Son, Palmer, Saka, Salah, and Garnacho. Son, of course, having two double game weeks later on in 35 or 36, and then in 37. Nice fixture this week as well against Luton, where he could bag a huge return from. He's a must in a wildcard, and I currently have him as my captain. Palmer as well, same reasons as Son. Good fixture in Burnley this week. Best performing player in Chelsea, and is very cheap as well. A no-brainer to have him. I have chosen Saka as I believe that regardless of his price and fixtures, he still find a way to get some sort of return. He's Arsenal's penalty taker and probably their best attacker. I have gotten punished this season during the weeks that I've sold him, so I'm not repeating that mistake again. For Salah, I think he's a must pick now that he's back from injury. He's still Liverpool's highest scoring player, even after missing a large amount of games. When he's fit, he's essential, and that's why he's in my team. Garnacho is the cheap enabler in the team. He's a consistent starter and he doubles in 37, so he will definitely help for the bench boost. Notice how four of the five midfielders that I own are penalty takers in their respective teams. Son, Palmer, Saka, and Salah. It's probably the best midfield four you could get at the moment. For my forwards, I have chosen Muniz, Holland, and Darwin. Muniz is a player that I'm planning to bring in due to his form. 7 goals in his last 7 games. Fulham isn't doubling in the future, but I think he'll be a great pick for the coming games as he faces Sheffield and Forest for his next 2 games. I think he'll be able to grab a few goals in those fixtures. Holland is also essential in my opinion. Even when you think he's playing badly, he'll somehow find a way to get a goal or an assist, any type of return actually. A player of his level is able to surprise you with a haul regardless of the fixture, so he's a must for me, even at his price. Darwin's position is up for grabs. I haven't decided on whether to have him or Isaac. He's here for now though. I believe that Liverpool is the best when it comes to offense in the league, and in that offense, Darwin has contributed massively. 20 goal involvements, 10 goals, 10 assists. From the 65 goals Liverpool has scored, that's a large portion of their goals with him involved. Brighton and Sheffield for the next 2 fixtures, I think he should be able to return in both games. So in my wildcard team, there's just 8 doublers for my bench boost in Game 37. That's going to change over the coming weeks as I look to bring in even more doublers. I have a few short-term punts in Muniz and Gabriel, who I plan to have until Game 33, where I'll replace them with Van Hag and Hoyland. The 1.3 million in the bank will be used to fund the transfer. This team isn't final, but most of the players are confirmed already. The players where I'm not too sure about yet are just Muniz, Darwin, Ariola, Lascelles, and Gabriel. I could just get Hoyland and Van Hack now instead of Muniz and Gabriel, which will instantly give me more doublers for 37. But their fixtures don't get better until game 33, so they could possibly give me a lower return from game 30 to 32 compared to Muniz and Gabriel with better fixtures in that period. Lascelles is just the problem of knowing whether he'll be a starter or not with Botman out. Ariola could be replaced by Verbruggen as Verbruggen doubles in 37. But the thing is, I don't know if he'll start both the games. It wouldn't be good to find out that he gets benched in that period. I would have chosen a different goalkeeper that doubles like Vicario, Ederson, or Nana, but I just don't have the money to bring them in. I would have to downgrade one of my players in the other positions to do so, and that would seriously impact the point potential for my bench boost. So yeah, having Areola instead could just be the best for my team with his cheaper price and his nice fixture against Luton in game 37, even when he doesn't double. Darwin is a 50-50, as I might have Isaac instead. I value the both of them quite similarly, and I feel like they both don't have much to separate each other. Both are consistent when they start. They have great fixtures overall, but Isaac does have an edge over him with Newcastle doubling in 37, while Liverpool doesn't. By having Darwin in the team now, I'll have him facing Sheffield next week, which could be a game where he hauls, and after that, I'll get to decide when to replace him for Isak in the future. By having Darwin in the team now, yeah, that's what happens. With Isak in the team from the start, if I have him in the start instead of Darwin, he'll be a sure starter with Wilson out injured. His fixtures are great long term, and I will have an extra transfer for another position to possibly bring in another doubler. However, he's known to be quite injury prone, so that could be a negative. So yeah, it'll be quite close between the two, so I'll have to think about this a lot more until deadline. Other than that, the rest of my team are pretty much confirmed. And that wraps up this week's team selection video. Good luck to everyone for Game30. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to be updated on my latest uploads. I'll be uploading every week, so stay tuned. Leave a comment if you'd like, and thanks for watching the video.